Hi guys, today we're talking about how to train your staff to ensure that you get good quality staff. Firstly, training your staff is the most important thing you can do. Concentrating on that once you start taking on staff to take your business to the next level. Because well, I say it's the most important thing. Obviously getting customers is the most important thing, but training your staff to actually keep your customers, to keep your customers happy, for you to get consistency and to train somebody the quickest possible way to deliver the results in your business that you're currently delivering yourself, that you need to portray to your customers, otherwise you'll lose your customers. In the beginning of my cleaning business, I really struggled with this, but please always bear in mind, you're not the only one going through this. Everybody struggles to get through that first stage of the training and how to get it right. But don't just try one thing and then think, well, that didn't work. So try different things all the time and improve it all the time. And that's how you will get to where you build your system of actually training your staff. So all of them are trained exactly the same way on a system, but also you can set it up so you're not doing it, nor do you have to pay a trainer to actually do it. You can have a trainer going and further training and actually keep on top of it and check, but I will show you how to set that up, sort of an automated system, so you don't have to. Basically, it costs you quite a lot of money to constantly train staff, even if you do it yourself, or if you get a trainer, in all scenarios it costs you money. So it's definitely beneficial to have it on a automation system. You know what works and what doesn't work, so you just keep then implementing that into the system and then just make it better, and that's how you grow. So basically my first sort of tip will be is you will never employ your perfect employee. You will never employ somebody that's going to be a quality person, or you will quality person, but not quality trained, unless they're highly trained and like super awesome at what they do, but they probably will start their own business then. You have to get it out of your mind of, I'm going to employ somebody that's going to be awesome. It's about employing people, and you have to have they have to have certain core values, not normally goals or what they want to achieve, but it's the core values, who they are as a person, and if they're going to be a good fit for your company. Are they enthusiastic? And the right attitude to fit in with your company, and then everything else you train them on. Everything. And I would say, suggestion, when you first start employing staff, the first thing you need to train your staff members on is how to be a good or brilliant employee. I think that's the first thing you need to get over for them. Like a good employee, make a list of everything you think a good employee is and what they should be, and then that's where you start training them. This is what we do, this is what we don't do, as a sense of employee. So you'll probably find that will help you run your business so much easier as well. If they know, well, hang on a minute, a good employee means that if she gives me a checklist, I need to do it, because I need to check it in and not just go tick, 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 but actually, concentrate on it. Because you pay them, that's part of their job. So that's kind of like what they need to do. So yeah, and then the core values. It's very important that they, I always employ people that's friendly, bubbly, outgoing, enthusiastic, and of course that attitude that comes with it, which is, I can achieve anything and I can do anything. Yep, you just train me, don't worry. The people that always say, no problem. No, that's not a problem. I'll just get on with it. No problem. And you get a feel, there's certain questions to ask to get a feel for somebody that will be able to do that for your business and help your business grow and gonna care about your business as much as you do. You are never going to have an employee that's as good as you, but if you can train them to be 90% as good as you, that's a winner. So it's all about training him in that way. So I would definitely start with a checklist. Why a checklist? So say for instance you're going to train somebody on a bathroom and you have a checklist ready. So you don't forget anything. You know exactly what's covered. but you get them already into the checklist sort of system of this is how we do things. Like you start from the top, like say high dusting, and then you tick it, and then you train them yourself physically doing the training. When you first start your business, this is very important. Before you have trainers doing it for you, which means it's just another loop of sort of systems that follow that. But first, when you start doing the training, you physically do the cleaning. You take them through the technique. Don't sort of train them in results. Don't train them in when you finish with a mirror, say for instance, it needs to be spotless, no splash marks, and you have to make sure you like look different angles so it doesn't glare. And it's about the technique that you need to teach them. This is how you use the material. So for instance, so if you're going to clean the mirror, we use the e-cloth throughout my business because they kill 99% of bacteria. It's chemical-free cleaning, smearless results. They were absolutely amazing. And what a time saver. However, I would then tell them, right, so you take the cloth, you fold it, and then fold it again. Then you spray water on the mirror, and then you wipe from the top left or right corner, sort of an S shape, and you make sure that you cover the entire mirror. Then you gently tilt your head from one side and check for smear marks and smudges. Then you go the other side and you check from that side as well. And if there is still a smear mark or a smudge mark on there, you take a clean cloth and you just go over the mirror again to make sure then that smear marks are finished. Now, at no point did I say it needs to be spotless and all this, the results. The results will speak for itself once you get the technique right. Now, you as a cleaning business owner, you know what techniques you use and how you do it. So it's literally just getting those techniques over. Like when you clean the toilet, do they start from the bottom? You know, do they lift? How do they sort of start? One thing my cleaners always had to do was, say for instance, when they first went into a house, they had to put the toilet brush in the toilet and put bleach in there and leave it. And the inside of that was always left for last, because once we've cleaned the brush a little bit, then obviously it got the bowl got scrubbed, then some nice smelly stuff was put in afterwards. But at least then the brush got cleaned. But show them exactly, talk them through the process. This is a technique. This is why we do it this way. This is the materials you use. This is the materials not to use, and this could happen if you do this. But everything you're going to train them on, there's a reason. Because if you say, for instance, you do use chemicals and you use like window lean or something to clean mirrors with, there's a reason you use that product, because you think it's good, or you've tried other ones, they weren't as good. So explain to them why this is the best product to use and how to use it. Then once you've sort of like gone through the list and you've basically, you clean the bathroom like you normally do a house, and that's how you're going to train them. Exactly that. Because you also, the checklist will ensure that they follow the system. They follow that routine, and then that routine will get embedded and they will follow your routine and your techniques. So they will get in the flow of it. And then the next thing you do is basically then let them do the cleaning, but ask them to teach you. They will be you. So they're going to teach you what you've just taught them, to reinforce that. So by watching and by listening to what you're saying and how you're doing it, it's enforcing it probably, I would say, about 40% into sort of their brain. They only remember 40%. And I'm not talking about cleaners, that's just us humans. If you read something, you only remember 20%. And if you read and see something, like if you watch a video and you hear it as well, you probably will only remember about 40%. And so it goes on. So the more you can reinforce your techniques and your cleaning, the better it will be and the more they'll remember. So then when they then go for it, make sure they use the checklist. So we'll start with the high dusting, and then we work our way through down to the bottom of the list. So they do exactly everything. And this should literally, it's going to take you a day, say for instance, to do this. Then the next day, let them go to sleep on it. Then the next day, you let them train you again, and you take notes. You take notes about things that they're not quite doing correctly. And then while they're doing it, just sort of say to them, basically discuss the fact that they haven't done it, why they haven't done it. Don't say, you didn't do that. you didn't do that properly, just say, oh, can you please just remember, like yesterday when I trained you, like we do this and this is because we do this, because we don't want this happening. So it's all about reinforcing that training. And then once you've sort of done that, then basically discuss what you've just gone through, like they've done it. And if they've missed loads of stuff, I would literally clean it again and reinforce. And it doesn't matter if that place is already clean. It's not so much about, you're not training them to remove the dirt, although you will be removing the dirt. You're training them a technique. So you show them how things are done. So even if you've just cleaned it, it doesn't matter if you clean it again, because you're showing technique. And be very thorough in your technique, and always imagine the person that you're talking to has got literally no idea what's going on in your head. Like literally they start from scratch. They've never done cleaning, even if they've got cleaning experience. Imagine they are like a baby. And I'm not saying talk to them like a baby. What I mean is sometimes business owner has got, and actually I've got a very bad habit of explaining things to people, but with that bearing in my mind, I understand what I mean, but when I say it to people, that's something I really struggle with, because they didn't always understand what I meant, because I meant something that was already in my head, and I didn't always get over the right way of saying things until I got to the philosophy of, okay, so just imagine they know nothing, so I need to get everything out of my head into theirs. Just bear with it. Like I say, and if the cleaning then on the second time they've cleaned it, if it's okay, and if you think it's sort of 80 to 90% possible, then you can actually place them on a job and then follow them and make sure that they do it correctly. Don't just send them into a job and leave them. Go with them. Make sure, well, for one, make sure the customer's met them, so the customer knows who's actually cleaning their property. Go with them, explain things to them, because every house is different. Say, for instance, you haven't got a toaster in one house, and then you haven't got one, and then you have got one in another house, and they're like, well, hang on a minute, like, well, should I clean the toaster or not? Because it's not in that house. So it's all about every single house, sort of individually. And this might sound like a lot of work, but it actually isn't. All you have to do is just walk through. If they miss the toaster in one house, not the other one, only the first time you go, then you just say, oh, you know, please remember to do the toaster. We normally do the underneath, blah, blah, blah. That's how we do toasters, for in case they didn't get the message. And then they should be good to go. But if you've employed somebody that's got enthusiasm and they've got the right attitude, they've got the right mindset, and they're sort of like a get-go person, which I always looked for, is the actual energy they project, then they will do very well on the cleaning. And they will probably remember a lot more, because they'll want to be a good cleaner. They will want to be a good employee, as you've already told them this is a good employee. So they will want to be. And you probably will find you will have less problems with staff filling in checklists, because they have to fill one in on every job and fill it in to make sure they don't forget anything, because it's easily forgotten. You change your pattern or something one day and you forget, and then it's like, then you get a complaint, or you get to a point where you might lose a customer. And this is ensuring that you don't lose that customer. Because remember, a couple of weeks ago, I did a video about customers' worth. Always remember your customer worth. And I would put so much effort into this training, because this will either, I would say, is a make or break. But the more thorough you do when you first do it, the better it will be for your business, and the better results you'll get. The more skill your staff will have, the more consistency you will have in your training and your cleaning throughout. And if you have trainers, they have to be trained as well, and they constantly have to be trained. You have to refresh this, because if they've done different cleanings at another company and all of a sudden you're training them your way, that they might have bad habits that came from somebody else's company, or that they just think, well, this is how I clean my house. That bad habits might start creeping in, and then you might sort of experience some problems again. So just keep on top of it. And then just keep retraining them and sort of say, right, this is training for this month. So we train our staff on how to do things a certain way, like say, for instance, the toilet. Like this month, we concentrate on toilet cleaning. And if you ever get a complaint in from a customer, tell all your staff, this is the complaint, this is how we correct it. we're going to make sure it doesn't happen again. But you don't want the same sort of problem coming up. But that is also a very good indicator if there's maybe something missing in your training. And then the best way to actually automate this whole training program, or to build your own program, and this sounds like such a vast and big job, but actually all it is the fact that if you, say for instance, do the toilet cleaning and you basically record yourself, it'd probably be better to get an employee to do it, but when you first start out, you record yourself with the technique, the materials, what, where and how. Then you can upload it to YouTube as an unlisted video, so it's not public. And then you can actually, like, once you've recorded all your videos, like everything to do, say for instance, with the bathroom, then you upload it to YouTube, and you can actually let your staff go through those training videos before you even start training them yourself personally. So you do the bathroom, and then you can actually create a playlist. So you can say bathroom playlist, kitchen playlist, and you go through all the sort of main items to be cleaned. And they can then, the first thing they do then when you come into your company is actually do those training videos. But the consistency of your training will be vastly improved because of the fact that videos are what they are and they stay the same. And everybody will be trained exactly the same way. You won't have this one saying, oh, I use these cloths, and this one, oh, I use this for mirror. And then you're like, well, hang on a minute, but I told you to use window lean, say for instance. And then they're like, yeah, but I found this one better. No. And then you retrain them, because that's not what should happen when you train your staff. You should make sure they know your techniques, your materials, and if they do want to switch, or they do find another product that's better, they could ask you first. Then you can try it out and you can decide. This is your reputation, your business, and it's very important that you actually get this message over at what a good employee makes and what their responsibilities are. Like I say before, if they don't fill in the checklist, well, that's part of their job to fill that checklist in. So if you pay them, say, £10 an hour, well, hang on a minute. So I'm only going to pay you £9 if you don't fill it in, because the part of your pay package is to fill that checklist in. And if you don't fill it in, then you expect me to pay you. So you're lying to me. You're lying you've just quickly done that, or you're lying because you haven't filled it in and you're not fulfilling your responsibilities. So be strict on that one. It's not worth firing somebody over that, obviously, but be strict on them filling and in the checklist, and make sure everybody does it. Don't give leeway to the supervisor because she's a supervisor. Everybody's got to do it across the board. And then that way, once again, you've got that consistency. And at the end of the week, give it into the supervisor or the team leader or you, so that you have a record of it. You know it's done, and it's just building that up and make sure it's done, and keep on top of that so they know that they need to do it. And then obviously with the training, I would still, even if somebody's worked for my business for, well, it was like 10, 12 years, I still went in and checked their work. The better the work got, the more gap I left. So I would say the longest gap I left was monthly. But I always checked exactly after they've cleaned, and if there was problems there, then I would take a picture or video it and then call her into office and say, right, this is what I found, and find out first why this was happening, or it was literally just human error, and then retrain accordingly. To nip those problems in the bud quite quickly. And the quicker you get there, the better your results will be at the end. And keep reminding them about the good stuff, about how to be a brilliant employee and how you can help me grow my business, and I will help you grow you as a person, as an individual, and you can earn money that way. So like I say, guys, focus on hiring for integrity, hiring for attitude, for the happy people that you know is going to be willing to help you. And then train for skill, consistency, and train with technique rather than results based. If you're not yet part of my private Facebook group, it's Cleaning a Business Community. It's just a group where loads of people, like-minded cleaning business owners, come together. If you're thinking of starting a cleaning business, or you've got between 1 and 20 staff members, that's the group for you. I tend to keep it really small because I want us to discuss kind of like the same issues and not have one, oh, VAT registered here and this one charges 70 and this one charges 20. I keep the sort of the people in there, the same kind of people, so we can get those people onto the next stage. I also offer a free 30-minute free consultation when you join, and it's just to find out where you are and what your best next steps are for you to actually take that step. If you know, when you feel, oh, you know, I don't know where to start, or you know, what do I do? I've got all this information coming out, but I don't know what is best for me to take the next step in my business. So guys, that's it for this live. Please remember, if you've liked this video and you'd like more like this, please remember to give me a heart or a like. I would really appreciate that. And I would love for you to share it. And if you do share it, please remember to comment, share below, because I would personally like to thank you. But in the meantime, I wish you all the success and the best for your business. See you later.